approaches that we use to defeat those attacks, usually passive attacks, we need to use techniques in advance to prevent them, whereas active attacks, we use techniques to detect them. And we'll see that as we go through some cryptographic techniques. We also said that we can talk about inside or outside attacks, depending on who's doing the attack. We mentioned that there are countermeasures or security mechanisms. They are the techniques that we'll use to implement the security services. So that will be the techniques to detect and recover from attacks. And the prevention and detection in particular usually use cryptographic techniques, encryption especially. So the next topic, we'll look at those cryptographic techniques. Am I finished? There's 2 more slides. I'll not go through these. Most of the lecture topics I'll include 2 or 3 slides at the end, giving some other areas that you may explore if you're interested. You can just explore on your own, like different organisations which are involved in computer security. And in some other slides you may see some future issues or research issues that can be considered that we can discuss maybe outside the class if you're interested. So a key of combining security mechanisms is to use encryption or general cryptography techniques. So we want to talk about what is encryption especially and what other techniques are used to implement our different security services. I think you've all heard of encryption. Some of you may have deliberately used it when you encrypted a file, and you indirectly use it on a regular basis when you use a number of network protocols, HTTPS, for example, accessing a secure web server, encrypts your data before it's sent. So in this course we'll not look at the details of how encryption algorithms work, but instead just say what we mean with encryption, list some of the different algorithms available, and present some of the trade-offs and types of attacks. Encryption is used for different security techniques. The key one, or I'll avoid saying key, the important one is confidentiality. So let's start with that. How do we keep data secret? Encrypt that data. So our aim is to take our confidential information, our message, and make sure that unauthorized individuals cannot read that message. That's what data confidentiality is. The way that we do that is we take that confidential information, encrypt it, and we'll use an algorithm, an encryption algorithm, such that anyone can see the encrypted data. We don't care who sees the encrypted data, but the algorithm should be so that only authorized people can decrypt to find the original data. And the authorized people will be identified with the use of keys, secret keys. Encryption is used for data confidentiality of information being sent across a network. We say sometimes in transit, the data is sent across a network, but also for data at rest, data stored on a disk, for example. So the same concepts are used. So I encrypt a file that's saved on a hard disk. I encrypt it and I save the encrypted file on my hard disk. Anyone who accesses my hard disk cannot get the original file unless they have the key. Similar, I want to send data across a network, I encrypt it before I send it. Anyone who intercepts that message, like we did with Wi-Fi, can see the encrypted message but cannot decrypt it unless they have the key. The same approach is used when it's saved on a disk and sent across a network. As an example, we use reasoning across a network. So a simple model is that reasoning, there are 2 users, 2 known users, A and B. A wants to send a message to B, and A and B want this message to be confidential. That means that when A sends a message to B, we don't want anyone else in the world to be able to read that message except B. Of course, A can read the message they created. And anyone else in the world will represent as just one other user, an attacker, user C in this case. What will assume? So user A with a computing device generates the message, and will send something to user B. We will assume that some other user, user C in this case, who's performing an attack, can intercept anything sent between A and B. Somehow they can intercept. Somehow maybe that they do the attack on a Wi-Fi link, or somehow maybe they simply go to the computer and get a copy of a file, or they can hack into a wire link or get access to an intermediate device like a router. But the assumption is somehow the attacker can intercept anything sent between A and B. Therefore, we can't send the original message between A and B because it will not be confidential. So what we do is we encrypt the message before we send it. User A has the original message that they want to send to B. We refer to that message as plain text. It doesn't have to be text. It can be any format, but the name we give this original message is plain text. And what we do before we send that is we encrypt it. We apply an algorithm, an encryption algorithm, or a cipher, and they're related. Sometimes they're even the same algorithm. They must have the property that if we encrypt a plaintext message to get ciphertext, if we decrypt that ciphertext using the correct key, we must get the original plaintext. So the algorithms must return the original plaintext. They cannot return something different, otherwise they don't work. And the algorithms take as an input a key. In this picture, I say that the encryption uses key 1 and decryption uses key 2. They may not be different keys. They may be the same values. So key 1 and key 2 may be the exact same value. The exact same value. From the attacker's perspective, the attacker can intercept anything that A sends to B, in this case the ciphertext. The attacker wants to find the plaintext. They can easily obtain the ciphertext. If you have the ciphertext, you can try and decrypt that ciphertext. And this assumes that the attacker knows the algorithm used for encryption and decryption, and that would be a common assumption. The attacker knows how we did the encryption and decryption. So assuming the attacker knows the decryption algorithm and they know the ciphertext, what do they need to get the plaintext? What does the attacker need to get the plaintext? They need key, the key 2 in this case. Okay. So the important part here is that key 2 must be kept secret. If the attacker knows key 2 in this scheme, then they can decrypt very easily and get the plaintext. So we'll talk about secret keys. keys are normally kept secret. In this case, user A and B may know the keys. They cannot tell anyone else, otherwise the scheme fails, it's not secure. And later we'll talk about some different approaches of how to use secret keys. Even if the attacker doesn't know the key, it should be practically impossible for the attacker to either find the key or find the plaintext. And if we have an algorithm for encryption and decryption such that the attacker, given the ciphertext, cannot find the plaintext, then we consider that algorithm strong or secure. And there are such algorithms that we consider secure, so we'll list some of them as we go through. So that's our general model for encryption. The encrypts the plaintext using one key, and the receiver decrypts the ciphertext using a potentially different key. It may be the same. In most of the cases we'll see at the start, it's in fact the same. Key 1 and key 2 are the same. So some terminology we've seen so far. Plaintext is the original message. Ciphertext is the encrypted or encoded message. Encryption is the process of converting plaintext to ciphertext, sometimes called enciphering. Decryption is the opposite. A key is used in the cipher or the encryption or decryption. What is a cipher? It's a particular algorithm we use for encryption and decryption. So this block of encryption and decryption, we need to have an algorithm there, and a cipher is one particular algorithm. Cryptography is the study of algorithms for encryption. So what algorithm do we use for encryption? Well, people have studied many different algorithms and tried to work out which one's the best. That's cryptography. Cryptanalysis is the study of the techniques for defeating those algorithms. How do we decrypt the ciphertext? Well, without knowing the plaintext or the key, in fact, it should be listed there. So cryptanalysis is about how to defeat algorithms. Cryptography is about how to design new algorithms. Cryptology is a combination of those two areas. I see. A common encryption approach that is used and has been used for many years, maybe thousands of years, is that the key used by both sides is the same. That is, key 1 and key 2 are the same value. A encrypts the plaintext with a key, and the algorithm is designed such that it can only be decrypted, the ciphertext can only be decrypted if the receiver has the same key. So the keys are the same on both sides, we say the keys are symmetric. We have symmetry between the keys, and this is referred to as symmetric key encryption. Any questions yet? We have plenty of space in the front 2 rows.
スルカ街道、今日はスルカ街道です。研究。
Symmetric key encryption involves using the same key on both sides. There's a single key. It's sometimes referred to as simply a secret key or a symmetric key or a shared key. And that's one of the more common forms of encryption for confidentiality. We'll see another one later. So, for symmetric key encryption, we need a good algorithm. We say a strong encryption algorithm. An algorithm such that if the attacker knows that algorithm, and they know the ciphertext, they cannot get the key or plaintext. And we need that the sender and receiver know the key to be used, and that they keep that key secret. If someone else discovers the key, they can easily just decrypt it. In the study or the analysis that we do, we'll assume that the cipher, that is the algorithm used, is known by the attacker. So the algorithm used to encrypt and to decrypt is known by everyone. The reason we assume that is it's usually easy for the attacker to find that, even if they don't know it. And for example, the algorithm may be implemented in your operating system, and everyone knows, you can guess which operating system the users are using, and it doesn't take much to find out what algorithm they use to encrypt. So normally the cipher is assumed to be known. And at this stage, we'll assume that the keys used by user A and B are known by A and B and not known by anyone else. That is, they were distributed in some secure manner. That becomes a bit of an issue to arise when we look at key management. How do we get the key from A to B? At this stage, we'll assume that B knows the key that A is using. So, what algorithms are used for encryption? How do they work? Again, in this course, we'll not go into the details of those algorithms. We'll touch upon the principles and list some of the algorithms, but not look at their designs. But basically, encryption uses two main operations: substitution and transposition. And they're very simple. Substitution is you replace one character, one element, with some other element. And we'll show a very quick example if we use the English language as our alphabet. The example of substitution is you have a word you want to encrypt, then you replace one letter, the letter S, with some other letter in the alphabet. And the algorithm defines which letter you replace it with. So that's the operation of substitution. And transposition is just rearranging elements. For example, you have the letters S, T, E, V, E is the word you want to encrypt. Transposition is an operation that says rearrange those 5 letters. So maybe you get T, E, V, S, E. That's a transposition operation. And most ciphers used today, symmetric key ciphers, use a combination of substitution and transposition operations. But they don't just do a single substitution or a single transposition, they use multiple steps, a substitution and transposition, and then repeat multiple stages, and they refer to as product systems. Let's give an example of those two operations. Very simple cipher. It's not secure, but easy to demonstrate. The first one is the Caesar cipher. And the Caesar cipher is maybe 2,000 years old, and the general approach is that we take, let's say we're using English language as the English alphabet. Now all of our plaintext messages contain characters from A to Z, and let's keep it as lowercase only. Then when we have a plaintext message with the Caesar cipher, to encrypt it, we take each character in the plaintext message and shift it K positions to the right, where K is the key. And that will produce our ciphertext. So a quick example. Everyone seems to be awake and listening, so I'll start with hard examples. Skip the simple ones. Instead of giving you an encryption, I'll give you a way to decrypt. Let's say I give you some ciphertext. And here it is. Here's the ciphertext. And I give you the key. The value of the key, K, is 3. In the Caesar cipher and the algorithm or the cipher we're using, there are different ciphers. In this case, we're using what's called the Caesar cipher. The Caesar cipher to encrypt takes each letter and shifts 3 positions out what the plaintext is. C, I use as a shortcut for the ciphertext. K is the key. So what's the plaintext? P. Anyone have the answer? Yep. How do you get the answer? Shift to the left to decrypt. If we encrypt plaintext, we say we shift to the right 3 positions. To get the original plaintext back, we take the ciphertext and shift 3 positions to the left. So take the first ciphertext letter, V, and then in the alphabet, you need to remember the English alphabet, go back 3 positions. What's 3 positions before V? Make it easier for you. There's the alphabet number, maybe a little bit easier. So if we have V, go back 3 positions. S. So the first letter of the plaintext is S. We substitute one letter with another. So this is a substitution operation. And the rule for which letter do we substitute with is, well, 3 positions to the right to encrypt. And to decrypt is the opposite. What do we have? V, W. V becomes S, W becomes T. H becomes E. Not so hard, that one. So a very simple encryption algorithm or a cipher called the Caesar cipher, which uses substitutions. Replace one letter with another. And the rule is, in K positions, if you change the key, you'll get a different output when you encrypt. So that was the original plaintext. If we encrypted that plaintext with a different key, say a key value of 4, we'd get different ciphertext. Or from another perspective, if you decrypted this ciphertext with a different key, well, you'll get different plaintext. Let's try. What do we get if we use the key of 4 with the same ciphertext? We shift 4 positions to the right to decrypt. R, S. So what we're doing is taking our V, shift to 4 positions to the left. 4, what else do we have? U and if we use the key value of 4 and decrypted that ciphertext, we will have got the plaintext RSDUD. Now these are very short plaintexts, but which one do you think is the correct one? Steve. Okay, so this is a principle that we'll see arise. When we encrypt something, some plaintext with a key, we get ciphertext. If you decrypt that ciphertext with the correct key, that is the same key in this case, 3, you'll get plaintext that makes sense, that we can recognize. But if you decrypt that ciphertext with the wrong key, it is the wrong key because I actually encrypted using the value of 3. If we use a key of 4, we'll get a plaintext value which doesn't make sense. And we'll be able to recognize that. The attacker or the user will be able to recognize something went wrong here. I got ciphertext, I decrypted with key 4, I get plaintext message that doesn't make sense. So I know someone who's simply insecure. They have a number of weaknesses. But that's not the point. The point is that the two operations are demonstrated. How would you break these ciphers? That is, if you're an attacker and you know the ciphertext but you don't know the key, how would you find the plaintext? Maybe starting with the railfan cipher. If you knew the value of the ciphertext, what would you do to try and find the plaintext? You don't know the key, you don't know it's 3 rows, what would you do? Guess what? Guess the key. Okay, so there may be a limited value of keys here. It's actually limited by the length of the plaintext. If you have a very long plaintext, you could, let's say we have a plaintext of millions of letters, a very long document, then the number of keys, there are many possible keys. Maybe you could do better than just guessing the key. So yes, you could guess the key, decrypt, see if you get plaintext that makes sense. If not, try another key. If not, another key. Can you do it better than that? Run a program, what would you probably do? Guess the key, so I want to be
そうすると
not necessarily fast, it's fun.
待ちですね
Turns out that you could look for some patterns in the ciphertext based on your knowledge of English and your knowledge that certain characters go together. In English, it's not very often that you have T followed by L in a word. So you could start to look at the expected pairs of letters of the plaintext and the expected frequency of letters, especially when you have very long plaintext. So if you know something about the patterns of letters that you expect in the plaintext, you can actually do analysis and instead of guessing from all the possible keys, you can try just a few and eventually you'll find the plaintext. This one's not so hard because it's quite small to guess. Similar with the Caesar cipher. Yes, you could try all possible keys. How many possible keys are there with this Caesar cipher? How many keys would you try if you had to try them all? We said the Caesar cipher shifts by k positions. What's the largest value of k that we have? 25 or 26 maybe. That is, you can have k as large as 0. If k is 0, shift by 0 positions. Take your plaintext, shift by 0 positions. I mean, don't shift. The ciphertext and the plaintext will be the same. That's not very good, but it's a possible key. If k is 1, shift by 1 position. If it's 2, or we did with 3. If it's 26, start with the letter A, shift 26 positions to the right, and you actually come back to the letter A, which is the same as shifting by 0 positions. 27 is the same as shifting by 1 position. So in fact, with the Caesar cipher, there are only 26 possible different keys. So an attacker just has to try all those 26 values. One of them will be with the right plaintext. That's called a brute force attack. But again, there are more intelligent attacks. And if you analyze, especially with long ciphertext, if you analyze the structure of the number of letters, the number of pairs of letters or diagrams, you can quickly do an attack to defeat this cipher. The last thing to demonstrate, we won't demonstrate, but so here. To make ciphers stronger, we saw an example of a substitution cipher and a transposition cipher. Real ciphers that use today don't use those, but they use the same principles of substitutions and transpositions. And what they do is they have multiple steps. They do a substitution, then transposition, then another substitution, and another transposition. And they have multiple stages or rounds overall, such that if they do it enough times, then it's very, very hard, practically impossible for an attacker to go from the ciphertext and move back to the plaintext. So that's what Phonics does. We're not going to do the example. Basically, apply the Caesar cipher on your plaintext, and then apply the railfan cipher to mix up the letters, and then apply the Caesar cipher again, and then apply the railfan cipher again. And then to multiple applications, you'll get a ciphertext, and you can see that the ciphertext is very hard to work to get the context without guessing. And that's the principle that many ciphers build. The intention of those examples is not for you to have to remember those ciphers, but understand some of the basic principles of different ciphers. So we saw something about the attacks that can take place. What does the attacker want to do? They want to find plaintext. If they only know the ciphertext and the algorithm being used, they want to find the plaintext or the key. Finding the key is often considered better than finding a plaintext, because if I find the key, I can decrypt any subsequent ciphertext very easily. But in most ciphers today, if you can find the plaintext or the key, it means that algorithm is considered insecure. So if an attacker can take the ciphertext and the algorithm and find plaintext or key, then that's not a good algorithm. You assume the attacker knows the ciphertext. They know the algorithm being used. They know if it's the Caesar cipher, if it's the railfan cipher, or something else. And in practice, they usually know how the pairs of plaintext ciphertext, but not the key. That was encrypted using the same key. The attacker may know that in the past, someone took this plaintext message, they encrypted it with a cipher, with a key, and got this ciphertext. The attacker knows the pair of plaintext and ciphertext, but they don't know the key. And there are ways to get that information. And therefore, the attacker works with that to try and work back and find the plaintext or the key. And there are two approaches, and we sort of saw them in the previous examples. Try every possible key. It's called a brute force attack. That's the dumb approach, but works sometimes, but very easy to defend against by making sure that they need to try many possible keys such that it takes too long. The smart approach from the attacker is to do some analysis on the ciphertext, the algorithm, to try and work out what the plaintext or key is. But that requires good knowledge of the algorithm and finding weaknesses in the algorithm. That's hard. See, he showed us some statistics or performance of attacks on real algorithms with respect to brute force and cryptanalysis. But let's focus specifically now on symmetric key encryption, which we mentioned. Symmetric key encryption is commonly used for confidentiality. The same model before, we take our plaintext. I've just introduced some shorthand notation, plaintext P. We encrypt it with an algorithm, and we take as input a key, K. We get ciphertext, we can write it mathematically, we apply the function E as inputs, the key K and the plaintext P, and at the output we get ciphertext. And then we receive a decrypt that ciphertext using the same key. say even though pairs of plaintext and ciphertext, they should not be able to find a plaintext or key within reasonable time. And the other requirement here is that the key is known by both sides, A and B, and is not known by anyone else. If one side has a secret key and someone else knows it, then it's not a secret. So it should know it's not a key. So we saw a very quick example of the Caesar cipher and the Railfan cipher. They are not used. They are just to show how to do something on paper. What algorithms are used for encryption and decryption in the past and today? That's what the next few slides will list. Just the names of some of the ciphers used, so you're aware of them. One of the first, and maybe one of the widely used ciphers in the world was called the Data Encryption Standard, DES. So that was the acronym for encryption. Designed in the 1970s, come from IBM and the NSA in the US, and became a standard in the US government and therefore widely used in many different countries. The details of it we're not going to cover, maybe pick up on some important things. It used a key length of 56 bits. So our real ciphers that we use today are not operating on letters A, B, C, and D, they're operating on binary values. So our ciphers operate on a sequence of binary values, and the keys are measured in bits, so a binary value. So with DES, the effective key length was 56 bits. It was actually 64 bits, but 8 of them were of no relevance to the encryption. And that was an important, or a significant limitation of the cipher, as we'll see in a moment. The key size was insecure. So DES was one of the earlier and widely used ciphers, but it had a limitation in that the key length was too small, and therefore new ciphers developed over time. But before we look at them, let's just simply do an encryption with DES. This is just a summary of the DES algorithm. The point of this picture isn't for you to know how it works, but to show that it's quite complex compared to the Caesar cipher. And positions to the right. Well, that's easy. DES involves, very hard to see, but involves 16 rounds. 16. We do something, we do it again, and we do it again 16 times. And each round involves things like, because it's operating on bits, doing left shifts, shifting the bits to the left, doing permutations. A permutation is another word for a transposition, rearranging bits. Moving one bit to this position, and the other bit to another position, and doing substitutions. It uses S boxes, is the concept. The point is that even though it's a very complex cipher compared to the others, it uses the same principles of transpositions, substitutions, one after the other, and repeats them all again in a second round, and repeats them all again, and considered to be a secure design. We cannot go through examples on the board, I'll simply show one using a computer. Let me encrypt a file, just to demonstrate. So the plaintext of message I'm going to encrypt is here. Okay, so it actually finishes at this point. So I've just created a text file. That's our message that we want to encrypt. That's the plaintext that no one else should be able to read. And what I'm going to do is just use some software to encrypt it. We're going to use DES, and actually before we look at that plaintext message, what DES does is it operates on a set of bits at a time. It encrypts a block of bits, and then encrypts the next block of bits in that original plaintext, and it works on 64 bits at a time. Use what's called a block size of 64 bits. So if your plaintext message is 128 bits, DES encrypts the first 64 bits, and then separately encrypts the second 64 bits. It's not a model of 64 that it can add some padding to make a block. So the ciphers that are used in practice today use a fixed size block, usually small in terms of 64 bits or 128 bits. How long is our message? Our message is 72 bytes long. DES does not operate on characters, it operates on binary values, on bits. How many bits in this file? 72 bytes, or 72 characters, or with ASCII code we represent files to represent every character with an 8-bit value. Let me zoom out and try that again, because it wraps around. That's better. So this is a file in the binary form. The values are not important, but just to make it clear that this is the sort of thing. The first 8 bits represent the letter uppercase H. So what DES does is takes 64 bits at a time, encrypts it, and then produces subtext, and then does it again for the next 64 bits. So let's encrypt using DES, the data encryption standard. And the software I'm going to use to encrypt is called OpenSSL. It's just some freely available software that implements many different encryption algorithms. I'm going to encrypt, and the algorithm is actually called DES ETB, just a mode of DES, minus E to encrypt, and we take as an input a file, a message file, and we're going to produce it as an output some ciphertext, just another file. And remember, to encrypt, you take the plaintext as input, minus in, message 1 is the plaintext, so it's the contents of the file will be encrypted, and it's going to produce ciphertext as output, and also we need a key as input. And I'll specify the key using a -k value. And what key value should I use to encrypt? How should I choose a key? What would I choose? 1. Okay. Well, what's better than 1? 0, maybe. Alright, this software requires a particular length key, but let's use 0. 16 zeros. They don't actually give any hexadecimal here. 16 zeros is equivalent to how many bits? 16 hex zeros. I'll make it the same. That's the nature of this algorithm. We need to initialize some value. And we don't have any padding in this case, so right, no padding. The key points, I'm going to use def. I'm going to encrypt my message. I'm going to produce ciphertext, that file, and this is the key value I'm going to use, but give it an hexadecimal. Then it just encrypted. It produces some ciphertext. That's right. The ciphertext file is 72 bytes. The plaintext file is also 72 bytes. The encryption algorithm should take our plaintext and produce the same length ciphertext. Okay, it doesn't add anything extra, assuming there's no padding necessary. It will always take 64 bits in and produce 64 bits out. So let's look at the ciphertext. To look at the ciphertext, I'll look at it in a binary format. Almost done. That's our plaintext. Right, that's our original message. And now the ciphertext. What do you expect to see? Well, here's our set of bits. Look at the ASCII encoding. So this software shows the actual binary value in the middle, those 8 columns in the middle, and at the right-hand side it shows that corresponding ASCII encoding. So the plaintext message was our hello, this is our super secret message. When we give the ciphertext, it has some random-looking ASCII characters. The dot means it's an unprintable ASCII character. Some ASCII characters you can't print on the screen. It's not a letter, like backspace and so on. Escape. Do you see any structure in the plaintext message? Look at the sequence of 8 bits. What about this variable? These two pairs of 8 bits. They are the same. Why are they the same? Because they represent the letter L. L repeats. So this is L, and L, and hello. And in fact, you see an E here. If you look through, you probably see the same sequence of 8 bits here, the E and super. There's some structure in the plaintext. It's hard to see, but if you look closer, you'll find that there's no structure in the ciphertext. If you look at these bits, there's no obvious structure in there. And it's effectively random. And that's a sign of a good cipher. A good encryption algorithm takes your plaintext, which is in some structure, and produces ciphertext, which is effectively random looking output. And DES does that. In fact, DES is a good algorithm in terms of producing random looking output. And the random looking output means that when an attacker gets this ciphertext, there's no practical way for them to, if they don't have the key, to work back and get the original plaintext. Because if you take something random, you cannot find any structure to find some hints to the plaintext. So the ciphers we use today effectively produce a random output. If you want to attack this ciphertext and find the plaintext, if you didn't know the key, what would you do? If you didn't know the key, and you knew the ciphertext, what would you do to find the plaintext? What type of attack? Before we go home today, let's answer this. What are you going to do if you want to find the plaintext? Brute force. Good. Brute force. Try all possible keys. How many keys are there? 26. This is not the Caesar cipher. The key length is 64 bits. Alright, effectively 56 bits. 8 aren't used. With 56 bits, how many possible keys are there? 2 to the power of 56 possible keys. So you need to try 2 to the power of 56 possible keys. So by making the key length large, a brute force attack becomes ineffective for most people. But it turns out 56 bits is still not long enough. It takes a few hours nowadays to try 56-bit keys. So next week we'll look at brute force attacks and look at the limits of what's possible and look at some other ciphers. We're looking at using encryption to provide confidentiality. Confidentiality is we want to send a message to someone. We only want them to be able to read that message. We don't want others who can intercept the message across the communication channel. We don't want them to be able to read the contents of that message. So what we do is we encrypt the message before we send it. We send the encrypted version. And the notation we've introduced, we say the original message is the plaintext. The encrypted form is the ciphertext. We send the ciphertext. The receiver decrypts it. And we use keys to do the encryption. The source encrypts using a key at their side. And then they send the ciphertext to the receiver decrypts. And the receiver uses the same key to decrypt. So both sides use the same key. That key must be kept secret. Since both sides use the same key, we call it symmetric key encryption. There's symmetry amongst the keys on both sides. So that's our model. Source takes a plaintext, encrypts using some algorithm. And mathematically, we can think of it as a function. Encryption is a function. It takes 2 inputs, the plaintext and a shared secret key K. And we apply that function or algorithm. Sometimes we simply call it a cipher. It's just a function that takes 2 inputs and returns some output, which we call the ciphertext or C. We send the ciphertext. The receiver uses another function, the decryption function, and again takes 2 inputs, the same key in this case, the same key K, and the ciphertext in and produces, if all goes well, the plaintext is output. We don't look at the details of how these functions work. What we want to arrive at is what are the properties or what can we assume about these functions when we use them correctly, when we use strong encryption algorithms. We're assuming so far that the key is secret. By the source and destination, not by others. If someone else knows the key, then it's not a secret, so we cannot call it a secret key. So that's an assumption that the key is kept secret. And that the algorithm is what we say is strong, very secure. And as we go through, we'll see some examples of what we mean by that. Many ciphers think the algorithms, the encryption and decryption algorithm we call the ciphers, they can be broken into 2 types, block ciphers and stream ciphers. A cipher doesn't encrypt an entire file at once. What the algorithms are designed to do, to make them secure and to perform well, they're designed to encrypt a small piece of information at a time. Small is usually multiple bytes, like 64 bytes, actually 64 bits, so 8 or 16 bytes is the common size, or even smaller, down to 1 bit or 1 byte. And I'll show you some examples. But 2 variations of ciphers, one which are mainly originally designed designed to encrypt large pieces of information like files, and they were called block ciphers. And block ciphers usually take your file, or the day you load it, and break it into blocks of either 64 bits or 128 bits. They're common block ciphers. So if I have my 1 megabyte file, the cipher doesn't encrypt it all at once. You think that the software splits it into smaller blocks, encrypts the first block, and then separately encrypts the second block, and then the third block, and so on.